I love this angle. Yes, they got my good side. I'm kidding. It was too funny to not share, and so anyway, uno moment, uno moment, uno moment. Poor favor. Oh, 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 ba da 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 da. Do 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 do. Do, 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 do. There's not a lot of light. This camera's struggling. Not that you can see, but I can see. I put this thing up. There we go. I like to put the shade up so you can see me. If you could see me. So today I'm going to use the occult and angel tarots, and we're just going to see what comes out. I think I might do it like a this side, that side. Also, I got new light bulbs. So, hey Holly, how you doing? Translator activated. This light, these lights, I can connect to with the Google Assistant. I'm looking over here because I guess that's where I'm used to looking. But not only can I connect to this one with the Google Assistant, so I can be like, "Hey Google, turn the light hot pink."
Got it. Changing two lights to hot pink.
Hey Google, turn the lights to 100% brightness.
Sure. Setting two
There we
lights
go.
brightness to 100%.
Oh gosh. Anyway, that's fun for me, and I get to be lazy again, which is always an amazing thing. We'll turn that one off and we'll turn this one on. But so this one, it has colors, but like they have a relaxed one. This is the relaxed. They have one for plant growth. I'm not a plant, but I guess if I wanted to bonsai a little something, apparently this is for plant growth. Um, but they have dynamic lights, and the dynamic lights are the ones that I'm excited for. So this is like fireplace, and you can like speed it up, and you can slow it down, and you can of course change like the intensity, or you can dim it. Right, I think. Yeah, there you go. So like, you see, I like ambiance, right? Anyway, I'm excited. They have candlelight fall club. They even have holiday ones. Spring, summer. It's springtime. Let's see what spring looks like. They have ocean, deep dive. We'll turn it up. Anyway. So we'll go for steampunk. Ocean, deep dive, mojito. I would love one. Pastel colors party. Romance, sunset, club, fall, fireplace. I'll stick with spring. Well, hold up. Since I'm using the occult and angel tarots, which one of these would fit? Sunset, maybe? Sunrise, sunset. Sunrise, sunset. Okay. Ooh, that's really. Oh, and they have daylight, of course. Oh, goodness. Maybe I'll stick with daylight since I got a little bit of that to simulate natural light. And then they have like warm light, cool light, night light. Excuse me. So yeah, like this. I know back at the co-rec on campus, they had a little mindfulness room. And in the mindfulness room, they had a light therapy box that basically did this. So that if it was the wintertime, for the people who benefit from light therapy, to help them combat seasonal affective disorder, They had it. So that it's like that. Anyway, I think it's incredibly bright and unnecessary. Warm light sounds nice. I agree. That's probably the one I'll stick with. That's not even like full brightness. Oh gosh. It's so bright. I think this light is also brighter than this light is also brighter than my last one, which is really nice. Um, because I don't know, towards the end it just seemed kind of dim. And then I looked at the lumens, and the lumens were lower. I think for a while, hey David, how you doing? For a while, it was okay. It was really good for a while, but then I had that super bright LED light up top, and it was so bright that like the other lights didn't, they were dim in comparison. So also I like that this is dimmable because that light, it put out a lot of light and a lot of heat. So I can dim it and hopefully it's not as hot. Because we are approaching the summer. We are quickly approaching the summertime. So yes. Anyway. Whoa. I know I could have got this. I would have gotten the deck before I went live, but is that my pillow? What is this? Oh yeah, it's my little pillow. Oh, what's hanging up there too? um, but I wanted to start the video like this. Hey everybody! Ooh, glad to hear it. Okay, well. Oh, did you hear that pop? I did Tai Chi yesterday for the second time, and it was just like pop, 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 pop. My body was just like creaking and popping constantly. I'm like, oh my gosh, where's this deck? I knew I was gonna use it, so I didn't think I would have put it in such an inconvenient place. There it is. I got you. Ooh. I know. This is my second workout of the day. How's everyone doing? How is your day? Oh, wait. I'm going to need this. I keep talking about doing the soft rooms. And I think. No, actually, I didn't. I used the Crow Tarot and the Runic Tarot for the La Fruma series. I think I gotta watch them back. Your favorite seat in the house? I feel like I don't know. I just be like moving too much. Ooh. Okay. All right. Ah, there we go. You are who I was looking for. The crunches. And we'll just see what comes out, you know? Is Patrick biting off more than he can chew again? Probably. I am already regretting doing this. Kidding. I guess we'll see if I'm kidding or not. Yeah, I gotta watch it back. Because I was waiting for the. I was like, oh, I didn't grab the Crow, but I don't think I had the Crow Tarot when I made that. I think I just used the runes. I would have had to use more than just the runes, right? Anyway, I'll figure it out. What is wrong with that dog? I know. All of this could have been done before. This is all a part of the process, you know? This is a valued and important part of the read that you can skip if you want. Where did I put those cards? See, I knew I had grabbed this deck last night because I was like, oh, I'm going to use it. And they're not where they were. Here they are. Goodness. Okay. Yes. I don't have the Murder of Crows Tarot, but I have the Crow Tarot. I'm pretty sure. That's the one I used in the Fruma soft launch, right? I used either the Runic Tarot or the Crow Tarot. All right, it's been a minute since I've used these. Excuse me. They've been calling my name. Yeah, I'm gonna change the light. I want something dynamic. Just because I can, you know what I mean? I feel like if I don't use the feature, then what was the point of getting the lights? Maybe I'll do fireplace. I'm trying to think like there's party. Pastel colors? No. Absolutely not. See, they're not bad, but we'll do spring. I think hopefully spring will be like lighter. Yeah, we're doing spring colors. It's fine. We'll slow them down a little bit. No, it's too much. It's too much. There we go. We're just going to go with warm white. And we're going to. There we go. Okay. I don't know if I've ever heard David mention that he has. I feel like maybe I've heard David mention it. I feel like I haven't. But if he says yes, I won't be surprised. Or maybe not. I don't know. What do I know? Absolutely nothing. Okay, I'm going to have to turn it up a little more just because it's a little dim over here. But I have two lights now, so I could also do this. Interesting. There's a hot, it's still hot pink above, but it comes across as very, we're also going to change this to warm white. Now you can tell. And the camera like automatically adjusts to the lighting. But I can turn this like way down. You do have a few? Okay. Oh, snap. All right. I think I'm going to do it this side, that side. And I'm also going to put reversals in the deck. Now, I know I've put reversals in here before when I used it with the Diablo Tarot and then proceeded to not get any of these cards. So it was very, because it required effort to get the decks out and like I shuffled them and everything and then I didn't even use them. I was like, oh, wow. which is fine. If it fit the energy of everything was in our sort of control at that point, free of external influence, but it's kind of hard to be free of external influence once we've been exposed to it sometimes. I also want to use my Threads of Fate decks. But it will happen when it happens. Excuse me. Alright. Am I doing it this side, that side? How am I doing this? What are we doing? What's going on? I wanted to use the affirm. Why do I keep looking over here? I wanted to use the affirmators too. See, now I'm back in my usual corner. I'm still a little zoomed in, but I'm back in my usual spots. I'm back in my usual corner, occupying the space of the internet. There you go. I actually might know what I'm doing. Ooh, excuse me. Besides falling asleep, should be six. What? Hello? What the? This thing? Oh, here we go. Okay. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. 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 Oh, excuse me. Oh my goodness. I'm ready for bed. The Thin Mints Girl Scout cookies? Oh my gosh. Is there no? Oh. Okay. This is what I'm going to do. These are supposed to be blue. Okay. I have a spread that involves two different. Well, it doesn't necessarily involve two different decks, but it's like top of the deck and then bottom of the deck. But instead of top and bottom, I'm going to use the two different decks. So I'm going to give these a few more shuffles, and I'm just going to pull right off the top. So adjust yourselves accordingly, and then I will begin. Okay. That one is done. Running away. Let's do it. Free from the ties that bind. But better take care. Unless there's a where, you'll only be wandering blind. Just more questions. Different kind. I haven't seen Into the Woods in a hot minute. Since they took it off of Netflix. I used to watch. Oh, that was my comfort. The Act 1, though. Act 1 was my comfort watch because in Act 2, everything falls apart. So usually I get like a few minutes into Act 2 and then I just turn it off because I'm like, It's fine. We don't have to reality. No, it's fine. Oh, cut 3. Boom. All right. So I got this deck here and I got this deck here. I'm gonna try to set them both over here, and then I will pull. Okay. Oh, Uriel, not Uriel. Not Seventh Chakra Archangel Uriel that kept coming out yesterday. Oh, wow. We're starting with 2 majors. But like golden majors, because you got majors and then you have the gold ones. That's like the archangels and the angel tarot, at least. And Michael. Oof. Uriel and Michael are the first 2 angels out. Word. So I'll do 2 of these actually. And then 7 and 8. Better take care, unless there's a way. You'll only be wandering blind. Just more questions. Different kinds. We disappoint, we disappear, we die, though we don't. Wait, is this Michael or is it Mickle? Because it's Mikhael. You'll only be wandering blind. Just more questions. 12 and 14. Kind of wish I had done this another way, but it's fine. Is that it? Nope, 15 and 16. And then 15. And then 16. This is a lot of cards. And on this one, I didn't even, there's only 1 page. So we'll see. 25 minutes. Where does the time go? There are a lot of cards on the table, and I will take a picture of them. 1 moment, please. I'm going to make it the thumbnail real quick if I can. I don't know if I can do it for videos that are like live, because I don't think they pop up in the studio yet. No, I'll have to do it after anyway. I can show you though. Actually, I could do this. I love technology. I do. I really do. I can't help it. I love the synchronization of technology. I like when technology seamlessly flows between um, different devices. I still got 10 seconds. Oh, the cards. I forgot that they were there. That's why I wasn't typing on my. Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. That's what I was looking for. That's why I wasn't typing on my laptop. Enjoy the sounds of me. Well, we'll see. I thought these were already connected. I guess we'll pair with the QR code. Sure. There we go. Oh, I think it's because, yeah. I am a robot. I'm fail captures. Captures are the enemy. Hello. I am your grandma. I am your grandma. Oh, the in-app camera. I didn't read that part. I didn't make it that far. Oh, which one is the app? Oh, which one is the app? There we go. On. Disconnected. Disconnect. I know this is taking a minute. It might be worth it. Trust me. Maybe. You may find it worth it. And you may not. I think it's because I had to re-sign into my camera. Add a computer. There we go. You're all set. Continue. Thank you. Finally. Get started. I've done this before. This is not my first rodeo. This is not my first time doing this. I have done this before, believe it or not. But I gotta save it. Why are you don't blur on me? Don't you blur on me? There you go. We'll see. Um, I might have to. Can y'all hear the dog? I may have to. Da, 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 da. Yeah, I'm gonna have to trim it. We're gonna have to trim this file. See if I could do it on my phone, then I could trim it in app so that I wouldn't need to do it in a third party space, you know. But since I'm not on my phone, then I can't do that. Ba, 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 ba. Keep the aspect ratio 16 by 9. Where's this couple? Where's the hello? They don't have a. That is wild to me. How do they not have a? How do you not have a? How does that? What? How do you not have a 16 by 9? That is crazy. There we go. We'll just do this. We'll do this and we'll let the internet, the computer work its magic. Nope, don't save a copy. Save the original. Yep, that is what I want. That is what I want. Mm-hmm. Fiddling and finagling. And I think, here we go. There we are. There we are. Boom, and magically, after 2 hours, the thumbnail has changed. We'll say 3232. Fiddlin and how do you spell finagling? Not like that, but it's fine. Cards are spread. Reading. I'll say reading at 33 minutes. There you go. A courtesy from me to you. Oh, I was gonna look at the. Let's ask. Hey Google, how do you spell finagling?
Sure, but first you'll have to unlock your
I gotta
device.
unlock my phone for everything.
Finagling is spelled Finaglin.
Oof. I should have known it was the F-I. I did the F-E. I did F-E. I did it, and I was like, something about that F-E don't look right, but there we go. Finagling. Fin angling? Are we catching fish? Okay, so it's the thumbnail now, but for you who are already here, that's not very helpful. So I will show you the image that I could have showed you 5 minutes ago or 10. And it's all the cards. So I put reversals in the deck. We're going to see how I'm reading them as I go to read them. Now I got to crop the image over here. I could have just cropped it over here first, but it's fine. It's a lot easier over here too. There you go. This is how the cards are laying out. See that? Now the first two cards were Baphomet and Uriel, which is interesting. I need this. Should have pulled it up on my computer. Should have pulled it up on the TV. But it's fine. So I got the two books here. Honestly, I'm probably gonna have to. Well, the cards say things, so I might not have to read the books. Especially for the Angel Tarot, I think it gives more like date correspondences, but it doesn't give any more information about the angels. It does tell you how to pronounce the names, which is helpful, but it's fine. So the angelic overall is Uriel in reverse, who is the tower, the fire of God, disruption, warns of disasters, aids in transformation in reverse. The occult overall is Baphomet, the magician, gives health and financial prosperity, connects one safely with divine. It's interesting that Baphomet, the occult, connects one safely with the divine. It's also interesting that the divine, well, it's a tower energy, but it's the tower in reverse. Maybe the tower in reverse is just like when the tower is upright, it comes and it happens regardless of if we want it or not. Usually it comes in a destructive way because it's something that we hold significant attachment to. With it being in reverse, it may just be like a polarity shift. It could be the energy of like rude awakenings of like something that we thought of as helpful or beneficial, finding out that it wasn't really. And so that truth can come in as a tower. Like I said, I don't know why I put reversals in here. I regretted it before I did it. I regretted recording this before. Not recording. I didn't regret it until I pulled the decks out of the boxes. I guess it's just the overall, right? So it may make more sense as we get into it. What is aids in transformation warrants? Oh, yeah, that's why it was in reverse. It could be because it's not something that's just happening. It might be because it's something that's self initiated, or it's something that we ask for, or it has tower like properties, but it isn't. Because the tower just happens. It's like it's something that requires confirmation or consent. I mean, we've been seeing Uriel as the seventh chakra, which is the crown chakra. Sometimes with the crown chakra, it is a matter of like whether or not we're receptive to a certain message, or it can also be all of the different filters that we put on things because it's received, but then we have to like decode and decrypt the message. And so sometimes things can kind of sort of get maneuvered or lost in translation how, depending on many things. It's also interesting because the magician has been coming up in the death card. There's been an energy, even yesterday there was an energy of like the way that we use the magician's tools are different, or something about the tools are different, or something about the way that we use them is different. And so old magician energy is dead. It was that death card in the Prime Use Tarot that came out the last time I used Prime Use Tarot, for maybe like Capricorn or Aquarius or somebody. um I never did. I never finished that, did I? Oh, I still got to do Cancer through Scorpio. Oh, okay. I really thought I did it because I was like, in my head, I was like, that was the last time I used the Prime Use Tarot, and I was like, wait, I did Cancer through Scorpio, and I didn't see it there. It was like, oh, because I didn't do it. I forgot. I meant to do that. It's fine. It'll get done. But the magician was dead in those. So it's interesting that the magician is upright in Baphomet here, but it's also interesting that it connects one safely with the divine. So even the occult side of this honors divine. It's not providence, but that's the only word, like divine orchestration, divine law. Even the occult side of this recognizes and honors like laws of divinity and the way that these things are used or whatever, right? Those are the overalls. The overalls. So, how do we. There are two overalls, but since I'm reading this kind of different, I'm trying to like adapt it. There are like four overall energies here. So maybe that was like the angel and the divine. So we'll make this one like the dark and the light. So the light overall is the Emperor 42. I don't it's reading like Michael, but it might be Michael. I should have probably pulled the book. I think Archangel Michael like spelled like how we typically see it is in here. It's number 42. Oh wait, I ain't even reading the numbers. Oh, Uriel and Baphomet don't have numbers. That's why I didn't read them. So Angel 42, the Emperor Mikhail, like unto God. This is political authority, gives safe travel, and protects against conspiracies upright. So the light overall is safe travel and protecting against conspiracies. The dark overall is the Ten of Pentacles, Barbados, which is the eighth occult, whatever. Understands the tongues of animals, uncovers treasures hidden by magicians, reconciles friends and enemies. So on the same side of the occult, so it is Hebrew Michael. So it's the same, but I feel like, you know what I mean? Maybe. I just feel like they would have illustrated. Oh no, because he's got the. Is that no? No, that's a plant. I was like, oh, because he's got the flaming sword. I was like, I think that's a plant though. Because I know that's a way to spell it. It's interesting on the occult and dark side. The dark overall is uncovering treasures hidden by the magicians, or hidden by magicians, but the occult overall is the magician. So it's uncovering treasures hidden by connecting with the divine, which would make sense. It's also interesting that the magician is here. So lots of repeat uh, offenders or not offenders. The light overall. See, I feel like that because the light overall is the emperor upright and the angelic overall is the tower in reverse. That emperor upright does almost reinforce that, like it's self-initiated. It's something that we like. The tower isn't just happening, but the things in the dark are moving regardless. But that can just be like, so while these tower moments might not just be spontaneously occurring, the world is still changing and transforming. Like that part of it is still there. Like regardless of whether or not we're aware of it or how aware of it we are, it's still happening. On the other side, it's like this is happening. But with the truths uncovered, it'll probably be like, more people asking for the light to be shown in their eyes. So there are two spaces where these connect. And I pulled a card for both of them. Or I pulled a card from each deck for both. So in the first space of connection is Knight of Cups Ariel in reverse, number 46, the revealing God. This is perception and revelation, discovers hidden treasure, reveals secrets of nature. But again, it was in reverse. On the occult side, it's the Nine of Cups for us, number 31. Teaches logic, ethics, and the value of herbs and stones. Can make one invisible. Helps one to be intelligent and long lived. Can recover lost items and find treasures. So far like three different cards are talking about discovering treasure. Knight of Cups and the Nine of Cups. Nine of Cups in reverse. Knight in reverse. Nine upright. Like all of there are honestly there's one, two, three more angels that came out in reverse. There's a fair amount of the angels that came out in reverse. Hey Steph, how you doing? How are you today? I need another rollover. There's a fair amount of angels that came out in reverse. Oh, there's another one. But it feels like it's something that's not being forced. Because the divine, the angelic, recognizes our free will. And so if we don't ask for it, if we don't want it, then it doesn't force it upon us all the time. But on the dark side, it's like it's teaching logic, ethics, and the values of like natural resources, herbs, minerals. Helps one to be intelligent and long lived, can recover lost items and find treasures. Like on the dark side, in this shared space, maybe because it is like through virtue of being a shared space, it's like there are these changes happening. There are these things that are becoming more and more available. The dark side is connecting to the divine in a way that's not like the shadow. At least me, I differentiate between like what is dark and what is shadow. But the dark side is also teaching again like ethics and intellect and morals and stuff like that. Like it's like you still gotta whatever. Like we're not on the other side of the shared space, both cards are in reverse. So we have the Fool, the Huvia, which is the first angel, the exalting God. Will and new beginnings, assists with difficult and great undertakings. And then the Sun, Boon or Buna, which is number 26, makes one rich, smart, and well spoken, gathers spirits at tombs, and changes the places of the dead. What does that mean? Changes the places of the dead. Like brings them back to life, or just like, I don't know, you get a new haunt. The Sun and the Fool both in reverse in this shared space. See how I was originally thinking this might be is that like the occult in reverse might be like a light influence, and then the angelic in reverse may be a dark influence. And it's almost like it's very, what is it? Fire without light is like zeal without knowledge. It's when one becomes so righteous that they begin to like cross lines that should not be crossed. But in their mind, it's justified, but in the grand scheme and the grand weighing of things, it is not. Right? Ten Commandments, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not do all that other stuff. So just because you put a holy name in front of it doesn't justify that in the eyes of that divine. Because it's like that divine told you not to do it. Anyway. So that's like when it can be a little too much. It's like righteousness that's blinded to the lack of love that it operates in, but it's not necessarily coming out that way. Yeah. The Fool and the Sun, both in reverse. If I read these as one card, if I read these as one card, the Sun, Boona, or Boony, who knows? Oof. I can't even imagine how irritating and frustrating that must be. Makes one rich, smart, and well spoken, gathers spirits at tombs, and changes the places of the dead. It's almost like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. On the occult side, with the sun, with on the occult side, the sun is here, providing assistance. Even Vahuvia assists with difficult and great undertakings. But since it's the fool, that feels more like us. So it's like the dark side is doing its part by leading us to these situations in which we want more, in which we want so badly and maybe so desperately for things to change. And it feels like that's the whole like gathers spirits at tombs and changes the places of the dead. But it's like it almost like that Flirsa where but it's a lot more aggressive than Flirsa. Because Flirsa is just a question. This is like these blaring things that are like we are very like can viscerally react to things that can trigger us. But then with the Fool in reverse, it's like, well, are we so triggered that we do something to change the outcome? Or do we just like scream and yell and throw a tantrum and keep doing the same thing? There's a lot of assistance here on both sides. Because again, like the very first thing, the occult overall is connecting us with the divine. It's almost like it's like the like it's not like good cop bad cop. But if you have like two guardians or two parents, and one parent is like the loving, nurturing, soft one, and the other parent is the one that does like the tough love, like they both care for the child. They both want the child to grow, but it's like they do it in different ways. It's like one side will show you the things that you want and will be very like, yes, I want more of that. And the other side is very much so the opposite, where it's situations that you don't want to be in, people that you don't want to whatever. It's jobs you don't want to work at. It's a lot of no's. Like, I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. They both push you towards things that you do want. They just go about it in different ways. But it's like there's a whole bunch of assistance there. It's a lot of learning opportunities and learning moments. The light is asking us to take charge of our lives. That's the light overall. The dark overall is this Ten of Pentacles energy that reconciles friends and enemies and uncovers treasures, understands the tongues of animals. I think with that understanding the tongues of animals, it's like it's realizing these new, not realizing new, it's like it's connecting more with the natural world. I think sometimes we like to have a very like high connection, like a very high vibe connection to the natural world in a way of like, you raise your frequency to this point and then you have this concept of oneness and everything is whatever. but it's almost like we look at the world through or from that higher vantage point. So we don't always see things as they are. And on this side, it's more like technically, I feel like it would be like the lower, but it's something about us like seeing things as they are rather than like all the way up here or all the way down here. Like there's this balance in between where it's almost like metaphorically looking at like a food web, like the plants take in sunlight and produce food, and then the herbivores eat those, and then the carnivores eat the herbivores or other carnivores, and then we are sort of like in between. And it's like looking at things as like the wheel of life rather than we are all manifestations of the consciousness of the one. So if you blah 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 blah. And again, it's like it's not to say that it's inaccurate, it's not to say that it's invalid, but it feels like in a way it's just so removed, or it's almost like if you were to look at me, but you were only to look for the things that you know of you in me, then of course you're going to see me as a version of you. But there are so many things in my particular individual embodiment of the divine that you would miss, that you won't see, or that you miss, that you might misattribute because you're looking for the me, or you're looking for the you in me. You're not giving me the opportunity to show you who I am. And then it's like things get so convoluted at some points where it's like between projection and triggers and all that, it's like it doesn't, there's something that's lost. And again, it's not to say that it's untrue, but it's almost like from a very high level, it's like the difference between theory and reality, or the difference between like things that happen in an ideal space versus when they happen in the real world, which is kind of Sagittarius Gemini axis, at least for me. With Sagittarius being that higher education, more theoretical, but Gemini being the more like lived community, like real world application. And I think it's actually a very interesting sort of intersection so far, because while the light is, again, the light overall is the emperor, while the light is asking us to take charge, and while the angelics are ready to reveal truths to us when we're ready, right? When it's like you can't handle the truth, like the divine isn't necessarily going to reveal a truth to you that will mentally break you to the point where you are so whatever that you can't even function. We can force those truths upon ourselves to that point, because curiosity is a thing and we can go looking for answers, but like that's one of those cases where the divine isn't necessarily just going to do it. That's why it's like in reverse. That's why like free will is very important to for whatever this particular tower is. But on the same side that the divine is asking us to step up, or the angels are asking, because these are both divine. While the angelic side is asking us to step up, the occult side is asking us to remember that we are all created on the same sort of like level. Or it's like to remember to acknowledge like the differences between us, and to not sort of like to not lose the beauty of creation for the sake of this singular blank white whatever. We are all gray, or pick a color, it doesn't matter. So now we have these flanking energies. So flanking the angelic is this. I'm actually going to do this one a little differently because these are all. Oh gosh, this is basically not the Hierophant spread, but anyway. Oh snap! There was a robin earlier. I thought it was gonna like. It was like flying in my direction, and then it went bloop and went up into the tree. I was like, oh. How am I gonna read? Because this one is here. Well, I guess I'll just read it because so each card, the angelic overall, the light overall, the occult overall, and the dark overall, they all have a card next to them, and I'm going to read them all sort of separately because they're all feeding into this space. So, sort of flanking, or because if you think of it as like four corners, four pillars, and then there's the step that towards the middle, so it's like those are on the outside, but as it takes a step inward towards the center, that's what these cards are. So taking a step inward towards the center is the Queen of Wands, Elamaya, the fourth angel, the hidden god. Its divine power guards against mental troubles, and it was in reverse. So that's coming off of Uriel in reverse. Which is interesting because it feels like it's like while with Uriel in reverse, there's a tower energy that is very present that we aren't necessarily forced to go through. It feels like it isn't stopped either. But that was the thing, right? It's like whatever is happening is still gonna happen, regardless of like if you go inside of your house and you like close all the windows and close all the doors and you turn off all the lights and you never pick up a newspaper or turn on the TV or whatever, the world outside of your house like continues to sort of spin and turn. And it's like typically it was not great stuff. Right. All right. Typically in the news, it's like we turn off the news because it's so negative, but there's such an energy of transformation. And that made me think again because I was watching Mr. Beast or whoever do the thing that they do where they record themselves like giving a homeless person whatever, or they record those good deeds. And a lot of times, and I've never really felt either way about it personally, because I like to see it. You know what I mean? It's stuff that I love to see, so I'm not gonna be like, oh, why would they record themselves doing this? But I know that thought comes up, or that line of thinking very much so exists, where it's like, well, I don't have to record myself doing a good thing. I'm just a good person. But then at the same time, we'll complain about like there not being anything good on the news. All the news is terrible. Everything on social media is doom and gloom. And then the things that we do see of like people helping people, it's like, oh well, why are they doing that? They could have did that and not recorded it. It's almost like these lose-lose sort of situations that we create and place ourselves in, are it's because of the standards that we hold that there are certain things that even if we wish to see them almost like they can't come to be. It's like you want to see better things on the news, but you don't want anyone who's doing good things out in the world to share that they're doing good things. And again, of course, it's because, we should be doing good things for the sake of doing something good, not to fuel the ego, not to do this or not to do that. But in a time where some people could desperately need to see that there are still good in humanity, that there are still people who care about people, that everything that you see isn't all that there is. There's a lot of like double edged sword type of energy. But with these two, it's almost like it doesn't Uriel doesn't strike your tower. So that tower moment isn't forced upon you, but with Elamaya in reverse, it's like, well, the storm is still there. If you think about the tower as like the lightning storm, and then lightning strikes the tower and it's on fire and it's broken and there are people jumping out of the building, it's like the storm is still there, but your house doesn't get hit, type of energy. But it's like, just because your house doesn't get hit doesn't mean that you might not fear your house getting hit, especially if all of the houses around you are getting hit. You know what I mean? Because at first it felt like there should be like some kind of element of like peace or blissful unawareness if this tower isn't happening to us. But it's like, no, the storm is still happening. Towers are still happening. On the occult overall, there is strength. Vine or Vina, I don't know how to pronounce any of these. Number 45, builds towers or destroys stone walls, causes rough waters, finds witches. This, this one builds towers, but it also destroys stone walls. It builds and this is a very Ganesh energy because of that. It's a very Lord Ganesh energy because it can either place obstacles that can't be overcome, or it can destroy like insurmountable obstacles. It's both. It both creates and destroys those obstacles. But I feel like that again, it plays into that, like it plays into the Buna, which was the sun, and that like it might not. It's like that's what the dark does. It brings us difficulty, so that like it's almost like sometimes it challenges us in a way that the light wouldn't. And it's like, how much growth do we do in our own lives because we have to, because we're forced to, because we don't have a choice, compared to how much growth do we like willingly sort of like take on and allow in. The magician and strength are these two. Finds witches, and it's right next to the magician. The magician isn't necessarily a witch, but not necessarily. I don't know. But because the strength energy finds witches and the magician connects one safely with the divine, I wonder if that's the energy that builds the towers. The energy that destroys stone walls is the one that like brings challenge into our lives. But there's something about like creating safe havens in the midst of the storm. So Vine or Vina like does both. But it's like it would do that according to this shared space up here, right? With the Nine of Cups energy that, I'll just read it, teaches logic, ethics, the value of herbs and stones, and can make one, helps one be intelligent and long lived with that energy. It honestly feels like these two are like merging. The occult and the angelic are like combining. It's almost like with the great, what was that? What did they call it? Were those the Watchers or whoever? What, the angels that fell? with the angels that rebelled at first. It's like there were the angels who remained in heaven and who kept doing what God created them to do in the light sort of way. And then there were the angels who fell, who still did what God created them to do because they can't help but do that, especially when they're like principalities or things like that. But they do it in a way that's not very helpful, right? It's like if you don't know something and you're learning math and there's the super nice teacher who like, so like, if you have one apple and another apple, how many apples do you have? And you're like, one, two, I have two apples. And like, yes, very good. Like that's the angelic. The occult is like, you don't know what 1 + 1 is, you're so dumb, you're so stupid, like blah, 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 blah. And like it does it in a way that like yells at you, that tears you down, that makes you feel absolutely horrible. But by the end of being screamed at for 5 hours, you'll learn that 1 + 1 = 2, with tears streaming down your face, wishing that you didn't have to be put through this. But it still teaches you type of energy. The light overall is Temperance Crokel, number 49 in reverse. Was this not 48? Was there a 48? No, that's number 4. I thought there was a 48. 42. I've been seeing so many 40s. Excuse me. Temperance in reverse. Teaches geometry and liberal sciences, makes great noises, and warms water. Makes great noises and warms water. Okay. Temperance in reverse for the Emperor upright. See, there's something about angelic energy that it almost feels like it's too hands off. It just feels like it's too hands off because it's like it's so easy to either like go overboard or to not do whatever. But like angelic energy, it gives us the freedom of having the experience. It gives us the freedom of choice and it honors and respects our choices. And I think sometimes it's like if we ask for the divine to do something and we like beseech the angelic, but then we like live life in a way that doesn't align with what we're asking for, then they may allow us to continue living our experience. Because so it's almost like even if you do ask, even if you do whatever, if the way you live your life isn't aligning to that, they're gonna give you, because like it's the freedom of the experience more first and foremost. It's the freedom of experience. In the Bible, it's like God created mankind because he wanted to be praised. He doesn't force us to praise him, doesn't force us to worship. He just wants us to. He wants us to make the right choices and the right decisions, but he doesn't force us to. Because if that were the case, like, you know what I mean? It's like for people with um, whatever that brand of ego is, like we can want a lot of yes people. We can want a lot of people to tell us that we're great or whatever, because of course, we all want to feel like we're great. But it's like even when we aren't necessarily doing anything that is great, we still want to hear that anyway. Even if we're doing wrong, even if we're doing mediocre, we still want to hear that we're great. And so sometimes we'll just surround ourselves with people who will lie to us, knowingly sometimes lie to us. I'm like, oh yeah, you're like, you were in the right. Yeah. Like, no, it was the other person. And the other person, 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 and the other person. It was literally everybody else that you've ever met in your life. Yeah, you're totally right. It was never you. No, that was them projecting on you. There. And the divine is like, yep, tower in reverse. They're not ready to see. They're not ready to believe. They're not ready to face that truth. Keep feeding them whatever. And then the occult side is sending you the people who are trying to show you that, hey, it's you. This one, there are some things that are other people. This thing is you. This ain't a projection. This ain't toxic, whatever. This ain't all that, blah, blah, blah. It's you. It's you. Hi. You're the problem. It's you. Because it's like if it's 50 different people, but again, it's like it's these things that aren't forced upon us. So even with the Emperor upright, with temperance in reverse, that's why it feels like it can go too far, or we can go too far. It's like when there's a person. It's basically like a power trip. How we can spiritually power trip, you know, when certain people. It's like how when certain people reach a certain spiritual level, it seems like all of a sudden like they're better than everyone else, and there's like almost like this lack of personal responsibility for a lot of stuff because again it's like if they're in the wrong in any kind of way then somebody else is projecting and somebody else is. It's like once you learn the lingo, it's almost like if you're a criminal who breaks the law. So you go to law school, you learn the law inside and out to find loopholes and to use a whole bunch of legal jargon to exonerate yourself from things that you know you did, but you also know or you believe that you can work the system because you have the vocabulary to do it and because you know how corrupt the system is, how corrupt the system can be. And again, like the divine in cases of non-extremism just lets it slide. It's almost like almost sliding into the hypocrite energy that came out with Mooncat and the warrior at the bottom of the deck. But again, at the same, like we have free will, we have choice. So if we want to get this emperor type enlightenment and then use that status to like go out and just be temperance in reverse, wreak havoc or whatever, then. But again, like that's why it's not backwards. It's just like because on the occult side, right? Teaches ethics, helps one be intelligent, make sure that you're gonna do the right thing with this power, with the Nine of Cups energy in this shared space. On the light side, it's like, nope, they have free will. So if they want to use all this information to be terrible people who take advantage of those who know less than them, then it's their birthright. They can do that. And you would think, like, I feel like we would think, like, what, really? That's why, you know, sometimes some of the brightest people can be the darkest. Anyway, so then we have the dark overall, and the dark overall is the devil, Samael, which is the severity of God. Seduction and downfall, communicates with the dead, teaches the occult and magic. This is coming out with Barbados, the Ten of Pentacles. That was understands the tongues of animals, uncovers treasures hidden by magicians, reconciles friends and enemies. Seduction and downfall, communicates with the dead, teaches the occult and magic. See, this I don't like. This I don't like. I don't like this. Because it feels like devil energy, because these are like across from each other. So it's angelic, occult, and then light and dark. So the light overall is like, we're going to make you an emperor. Don't care what you do with the power. Once you get that power, it's yours. You can do whatever. And the dark overall was the one who was like uncovering treasures and whatever hidden by magicians, right? Uncovers treasures hidden by magicians, reconciles friends and enemies. Maybe it's that reconciling friends and enemies part, though. Because honestly, like with this devil energy upright and temperance energy on the light side in reverse, it's like I wouldn't necessarily. This ain't what Patrick believes. It's like the light is making you an emperor, but isn't necessarily dictating or demanding that you do right by that because you have free will. And then devil energy is over here enticing people, probably to not do the right. It literally says downfall and it's upright. So it's like But wasn't that like his whole deal, apparently? He was like, humanity is not the creation that you think it is. And I will prove to you that humanity is not who you think they are. And a lot of times, those who are up here will look at other people as like they are the ones who are down there, or they're the ones who are stuck in these cycles of this and that and whatever, but not necessarily realizing sometimes that they're intoxicated on the fumes up here and they're doing the same thing, just using a different playbook. You know what I mean? And devil energy is, again, devil energy is that friend that's like, oh yeah, no, no, like it was them, they're the problem. Like, you didn't do anything wrong. It wasn't Jack or Jill or Judy or Bobby or Billy or Sally or Sue or Patrick or Jenny or Craig or Clarissa or whoever. It wasn't anybody else. They were all in the wrong. It was you. I mean, if you look at all of the atrocities that have been committed under the names and faces of the divine, was the divine in that? But in their religious fervor, they really thought they was doing the right thing. And it's devil energy right there. What is this? The readings were so good. So that's what's flanking all of this. This is what's taking a step out. See, but this is why it's like, I feel like just in general, like on earth, I feel like this is why it's so easy for us to think that like righteousness doesn't prevail, or that the seedy and shady, underhanded are the ones that win, because the light recognizes our free will, recognizes our choice, and doesn't demand anything from us. And the dark is encouraging us to do, maybe the not greatest stuff. I don't, maybe the shadow, but honestly, at this point, some of it kind of is dark. Some of it is dark too. But it's like the difference between dark and shadow is they may operate in a lot of the same ways, but when it's the dark that's aligned to the divine, it presents us the thing with the intention of us saying no. You know what I mean? When it's the shadow, it presents us the thing with the intention of us saying, yeah, let's do that. That sounds fun. But when it's the dark, they're like, oh, you were supposed to say no. Like, we went through this. We went through this. I talked to your guides and your angels and your ancestors specifically, and they told me that they walked you through this entire curriculum. They signed off that when this came in, you would make a certain choice. But free will, write that on they get the free will stamp. This is their choice. And they send it on. And they're just like, oh my gosh. But your angels are going to love you regardless. Your angels are just going to be like, oh yeah, they just need more time. They just need more time. I was like, okay, girl. Well, you have as many incarnations as you want down here. And just because you don't want to be here, don't mean you ain't going to be. Why am I like this? It's fine. Is it fine? But I really think sometimes, like, it makes me think of, I think they're called indulgences, and I only know about it because reading history books in history class with Martin Luther's 99 Theses, and the kings who flip-flopped religion because they wanted to have as many wives as it took to get what they wanted. And so they just did whatever because, those in power. And it's like, you can't blame it all on the kings because we as people do it too. If there's something that we want to do and it doesn't align with what we spiritually know is right, we'll just hop and jump and skip until we find the thing that lets us do what we really want to do. Is that resonance? Maybe. So 12 challenges and gifts. So on the angelic side, the challenge is the Nine of Wands, Hahasaya or Hahasia, number 51, God, the impenetrable secret. Universal medicine, elevation of the soul, and the revelation of mysteries. Excuse me. This is the challenge is the Nine of Wands. It's the elevation of the soul and revelation of mysteries. Also, universal medicine. I feel like that universal medicine is that, like, there isn't. This is a personal Patrick thought and belief moment because I'm thinking of the experience overall. If the point of an experience is to have a certain experience, then there are certain consequences that must be followed or that must be observed, right? Because it's almost like if there wasn't any bleed through or carry over from one incarnation into the next incarnation, if the slate was entirely wiped clean every time, what would stop someone from literally just living the same experience over and over and over and over and over? Maybe there are some who is to never experience any growth, and that's the experience. And again, it's like no judgment, of course. It just is what it is. Because if that's the experience that they want, then who are any of us? Who is anyone to want more for someone than they want for themselves, or to want differently? Not more, not less, to want differently for someone than they want for themselves. And if that is the experience that's for them to have, then that will be supported for them. And they will be encouraged in those ways. You know what I mean? And but it feels like that's sort of like the medicine. The medicine is like there are certain things that get cleared and wiped. But there are things that if it is one's journey to grow, then there has to be it's almost like if you're playing a video game and you don't have the option to save the game. You would have to beat the game in one sitting if you can't save, if you can't maintain that progress in some way. The gift is the Five of Cups, who is Veulaya, number 43, God, King, and Ruler. Prosperity, destruction of the enemy, and deliverance from bondage. So the challenge, universal medicine, elevation of the soul, and the revelation of mysteries. The gift is prosperity, destruction of the enemy, and deliverance from bondage. I love that. When we are ready, when we are ready in word, in action, in deed, and in thought, it's the angel tarot. When we are ready in word, deed, action, and thought, the divine supports that. That's like because the challenge is to like grow and ascend or whatever. The gift is it's almost like once we cross the threshold, then everything is wiped. And we maintain our progress at that threshold. And it's not to say that there isn't going to be some humaning in between, you know, it's not to say that that's not going to happen, but that's the gift. The gift is like once we make progress in whatever is for us to make progress in, right? Progress is relative. Divine, specifically, divine, did I say divine? uh, Designed specifically for each individual according to where they are and where they're going. That's it. It doesn't matter if it's left, if it's right, if it's up, if it's down, if it's in, if it's out, it's whatever. Because it's where they're going. When you make progress, then it's like the slate is cleared, right? It's like when you go from kindergarten to first grade to second grade to third grade to fourth grade, like if you have like math, right? When they're figuring up your grade for fourth grade math, they're not taking into consideration, second grade math and third grade math and math that you took in summer school, and that math problem that you did with your whoever that one time because they were like helping you or whatever. It's like within this window, within this phase, within this section, it is its own evaluation. And then you move forward. But there's something that saves your progress as you move forward. Just as there's something that, like, again, either way, and it works both ways. There are things that save our progress in like positive, beneficial, great, and amazing feeling ways. There are things that might save our progress in ways that aren't that great feeling that come with maybe some heavier emotion. And it's like, I don't know. Who am I but a dude? But it's like we love the great, the positive, and the beautiful, and we want to hold on to that. I mean, maybe it's just like to me, it's like, does some of this stuff not? It's like we love it when it applies in one way, but not in a different way. And so it's like we try to take in part and in peace. Sometimes. The challenge on the occult side, 1311, it's different. I knew I did them different. So the challenge is the Fool upright. The gift is the Three of Pentacles. No, the Five of Pentacles in reverse. So the challenge, cameo number 53, gives understanding of animals and the voice of the waters, answers of things to come. The Fool is also here, right here. Angelic, it's reverse in the occult. It's on its side, but I'll call it upright because it's this side. But somebody else mentioned water, and I was like, what does that mean? Was it the tower? I feel like it was one of these. Yeah, it was temperance in reverse. Makes great noises and warms water. I'm like, warm water, okay. Gives understanding of animals and the voice of the waters, answers of things to come. In this context, it feels like there's a difference between, so animals feel like things on this plane, like animals, trees, nature, like nature. But understanding the voice of the waters feels like the voice of spirit. And I feel like they would be similar but different. Don't ask me how. That's our challenge. Our challenge is in understanding animals and the voice of waters, answers of things to come. The gift, though, is the Five of Pentacles, Gamagan, number 4 in reverse. Teaches all liberal sciences, gives an account of souls that died in sin. In reverse, it's the gift. Honestly, that feels like it feels like the veil of forgetfulness. Especially like, okay, because I'm just like, wouldn't some things like carry over if we are to grow and progress? Because if not, what's to stop us from just like, if none of that carries over, just doing the same thing over and 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 over, like not learning, but on like a soul level. But it's like, if that is who we were created to be, then it would kind of make sense. You know what I mean? Like if we're created complete on a soul level, then there would be a soul stagnancy. It wouldn't change. Why would it? You know what I mean? But if everything is created to grow and evolve and change and mature until the point where it reaches the one again. It feels like these gifts are similar though. It's the Five of Cups and Five of Pentacles. On one side, though, the gift is once we make progress, our slate is cleaned. Because now we know better, right? Before we didn't know, before we were unaware. So now that we do know, now that we are aware, we can, again, like, we can do better. And it's not even necessarily super conscious. It's just like, now you know. So you're going to act and behave differently. On the other side, it's very similar, but it's like, because that slate is also being wiped clean. So it's like, for those things, I feel like whenever you get into the occult side, it's like it that's where it gets like warped and weird and kind of crazy. Because it's like, on one hand, there are certain things that wouldn't be beneficial for us to remember or to know. So it's almost like that's when the veil of forgetfulness may like fall in heavy. But since it is the occult side, it's almost like maybe there are some things that weren't great, but that could be used to like torture us into doing better. You know what I mean? It's almost like, for that person who has the friend that it was like, it wasn't any of these people, girl. Like, they were all the problem. You are perfect. Yes. No, no, it's not you. It's not you. It's not you. No, no. Honestly, like, I'm not that kind of friend. I know all of my friends don't always appreciate it, but I'm like, if you're wrong, you're wrong. And if I don't agree, I don't agree. You know what I mean? There are certain things where I'm like, yeah, like, for me, maybe not, but for you, yeah, I see it. It makes sense. There are other things I'm like, yeah, no, that's just. And then they're like, but you're supposed to be my friend. And I'm like, if you want a friend who's just going to lie to you and whatever, I'm not the one for you. I'm not going to take it personally if you're like, hey, like, I don't want to be your friend anymore. I'm like, okay, I get it. You know, I love me, but I'm not for everybody. And everyone isn't for me. And it does no one any good to try to force things or keep things beyond their time. You know, are my feelings going to be hurt? Maybe. Will I get over it? Yes. In time, my heart will heal and we will both be better off for the separation. Anyway, it was something about that friend coming back, but I already forgot. I forgot the metaphor. So, Bernie, what's up? How are you doing? Good morning. A very good morning to you. A very early morning. Again, hopefully you could sleep this time. But there's something like, with the Fool being the challenge of understanding, or the challenge of gaining understanding. It's like, it's so, I don't, it's so hard to like grasp. It feels like it plays awake again. Oh, well, hopefully you can get some good sleep soon. I know when it started warming up over here at first, I was like, it's too warm. It's too warm to sleep at night. It feels like it's a similar type of forgetfulness, but it's a similar type of forgetfulness or forgivefulness. It's a similar type of forgivefulness, but in a it works in a way that can be either good or bad. Because it's like, on one hand, of course, it would be beneficial for us to not be so completely inundated by the mistakes that we've made in our pasts constantly. But on the other hand, it's like, if we don't know what the mistake is that we were making, then how do we know? It's like, how do we know how to navigate differently moving forward if we are actively seeking different? If that keeps getting like wiped off of the board. It's almost like, if you've ever taken a test, let's call it multiple choice, even if it's not multiple choice, but let's make it easy. Let's make it even easier. If you've ever taken a true false test and you have multiple attempts on the test, And there are some things that some things that you don't know. And for the thing that you don't know, you have a 50-50 chance of getting it right, but you get it wrong. And then you have to take the whole test over again. And you do the ones that you know first. And then you get to those same questions and you're like, oh, I got this one wrong last time. And you're trying to think of the answer that you put last time and you can't remember because in your brain, as you're like thinking about it, it can kind of sort of go either way. And you don't have that old test in front of you to go, oh, I marked false last time, so this time it's true. You don't have that because the teacher has the old test. You can't see what you put last time. You don't know. And so you're thinking about it and you're like, okay, well, yeah, this makes the most sense. So you mark false again and you get it wrong again. And you're like, man, I missed the same one. And then you take the test again and the same thing happens. You mark the ones that you know. You go through it super quick and you get to that same one that like this is the third time you're seeing this question. So, but it's like, it's almost, I don't know if it's a mixture of test anxiety or if it's that, like, I really wish I could see what I marked last time. And you hit false again. And it's like, ugh. Like, that's kind of this energy here. On the other side, on the angelic side, of course, it feels a lot more beneficial. But on this side, there's something about it that is like, again, like it's beneficial in terms of it not haunting us over and over and over. But it would be nice to know what we got wrong last time, type of energy. But since the challenge is the fool, it's not about getting the right answer. It's about understanding. This fool it's understanding. It's a question that we didn't understand anytime we took the test. But since it was a 50-50 shot, we like just took our chances. You know what I mean? Because it's easy. I got a 50-50 chance of getting it right. you know? And like you've taken the test before. So you're like, oh, I'll just guess the other one. But it's like it's almost like the opposite of what some education systems are. It's not about seeing if you can get the right answer. It's about teaching you to understand the process. And if we put in the work towards understanding, then at that point, we don't have to worry about what we marked last time. It doesn't matter if we marked false 5 times in a row. Because this time we understand the question. And because we understand the question, we're going to get the correct answer rather than trying to remember what did I do last time and what can I do different. It's like, the saying to expect to do the same thing over and over and over again, but expect a different result is the definition of insanity. But it's like instead of understanding something, if our approach is like, oh, we'll just make a different decision, just do something different, just mix it up. It's like, yes, but at the same time, like the challenge over here is understanding. And that doesn't necessarily build understanding. Sometimes after you get the answer right, then it's like, oh, because da 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 da. Sometimes we can get the answer wrong and be like, oh, it's because of da 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 da. So even the questions that we did get right, did we understand it? Because that understanding is just as important, if not more so. And it's like, too, like we may not even be graded on. It's almost like in the test, you're graded on. It's like a math exam. Show your work. You're graded on the work that you show. It's like the final answer is a negligible, a, a next to negligible amount of points. Because we're not testing, like this test isn't about whether or not you can get the right answer. It's about your thought process. It's about your understanding. It's about how you walk yourself through it. Because in the real world, after school, it's not going to be what's 2 plus 2. It might be Sally's working for 2 hours and Bob is working for 3 hours. How many hours total are worked today? Real life gives you word problems that, in your understanding, you turn into a math problem or a whatever. You turn the word problem into a simplified version and then you work through it to get an answer. That's why it's important to teach understanding. Again, because in the real world, problems aren't just going to come at you like 1 plus 1, 2 plus 2, 3 times 3. It's going to be a whole world problem. Good night, Steph. Yeah, sorry. Sorry for your buffering problems. So the last two cards are like the overall. On the angelic, I'm pretty sure it's this one. On the angelic overall, it's the Queen of Cups, Pahalaya, number 20, God the Redeemer in reverse. Redemption serves against enemies of religion, governs chastity. On the occult side, it's the Queen of Swords, Andrealphus, number 65. Teaches geometry and measurements, increases one's intelligence, can transform a person into a bird. Who was it that was teaching geometry? It was temperance. Temperance in reverse. This temperance in reverse, this was the energy of the angelic that was like, you can do whatever you want. You know, you have free will. Like the angelic is encouraging, or this is the light. The light is encouraging us to be these emperors in our own lives. But then it's like, you do with this information what you will. Do with this power what you will. We just give you the sword. We just guide you to the sword. What you do with it after you pick it up, it's all on you. Because you have the freedom to experience life any way you want to. That is your gift from the divine. But so right, teaches geometry at least. Here's teaches geometry and measurements in the occult upright. It had that makes great noises and warms water. Here's the fool in the occult upright with the understanding the voice of water. So it's like the occult is coming in to teach these things that the light doesn't force upon us. And that is their balance. That is their sort of play. It's almost like devil energy is like, God's not going to punish you, but I will. Ah, and it's like, divine condoned or whatever, because the divine is like, oh yeah, then they'll learn. Or the divine is like, oh, it's a part of the experience, right? This is what happens down there. This is cause and effect. They made the choice. Let's see how it plays out. Like, okay, maybe the divine ain't so whatever, but it's that type of energy. Well, some would say because of inertial frames that even if the train is traveling that fast, that yes, you would be able to walk inside of it or something like that. Honestly, I don't know how inertial frames work. I think if it's traveling at a steady speed, maybe, because it's like the inertial frame from outside of the train is different than the inertial frame like inside of the train. So like outside it has this velocity, but inside it's like, I don't know. Because how fast is the Earth spinning around on its axis? And we're, relatively mobile, some of us. Queen of Swords upright, Queen of Cups in reverse. Oh gosh. Teaches geometry and measurements, increases one's intelligence, can transform a person into a bird. This is the overall. The overall. increasing one's intelligence, and then it feels like transforming one into a bird is that like ascension energy, right? You get wings and you fly. And then the light is just like Queen of Cups in reverse. It's almost like the light is like, we just give the information. It's up to you to interpret it however you interpret it. It's up to you to do with that information however you want to do, whatever you want to do with that information. It's just like, again, it's like so hands off in a way that, I mean, as a person, it feels like it would be like beneficial, right? It's like when the divine, if you go to the divine, or if the divine gives you a certain vision, and that came out, I think, yesterday. It's like, we get the vision of the outcome, we get the vision of the final. We're not necessarily told every step in between. And it's like, why would, like, if you would have said that, I would have been able to make a more informed choice. But it's almost like, and again, like, typically, I feel like it would be associated with like the occult. Like, well, you didn't ask this, so we didn't tell you. And it's not that the divine isn't helpful, because that's very much so not true. But it's not that they give us more free reign than we should have. But it's just such an energy of like, if I would have known the whole story, or if you would have told me how to use this, I would have done it correctly the first time. But again, like, the purpose is for us to have an experience, and for us to choose to be good, and to choose love, and to choose to be kind and thoughtful and considerate and caring for one another, to choose to be able to consider another as much as oneself, and in some cases maybe more so, for the sake of a greater overall harmony and wellness and prosperity. But it's like, that's literally the experiment, literally why we were created according to the Bible, to choose to worship, to choose to praise, to choose to be good to each other and to ourselves. But it's not forced. What are the takeaways here? Sometimes the bad times come in and happen to get us to see certain things, or to get us to desire more, desire better. And like, so many of these angels are in reverse. Again, because we just like, we have choice. And I think sometimes, I think like where we actually have choice and where we think we should have choice, they're different. Like, sometimes it seems that we think that our choice is like, I want to be a millionaire. And like, that's what we tell the divine, that's what we are communicating. You tried to slip in with the angels. I caught you. You stay down there. I'm kidding. But that's not the choices that we make. The choices that we make is an aligned action. It's how we get there, right? And then we're like, well, I said I wanted XYZ. And it's like, yeah, but, and it's not even what did you do for it. It's just like, oh, there was another one. Who are you? Crokel. I was looking for names that ended in EL. It's ELL. The two L's got me. I was trying to be, because it's Samael, it's Pahalia. Oh, that's not an Ariel, Uriel, Mikael, Elamaya, Zahuvia. Either an L or an Aya. I was trying to do it quick, and then Crokel came in and got me. But the card backs are different. So there we go. This is just so. Ugh. So actually, Samael, I thought I thought Samael was in the occult tarot because it's the devil. It was actually in the angel tarot. The angel, but it was temperance in reverse because I thought Crokel was the angel because the L. Temperance in reverse was from the occult. The angel tarot was the one that came out with the devil energy. Final angel. I don't even know. Honestly, this one is so. I mean, it's not that. I feel like, sometimes certain things are necessary. And again, it feels like sometimes we can get so caught up in our own spiritual egos, or we can get so good at spiritual lingo that we can think that we are outsmarting some kind of system, or we can word our way, we can speak our way towards certain things. But anything that we put out in word, tone, or intention, the universe will affirm. And when the universe comes in and affirms something that we're speaking or whatever, and then our actions, our response to it says otherwise, that's when we can invite more whatever. Or we just, invite blissful unawareness, and it's different paths for different people, right? I don't know everything. I'm not claiming to know everything. Um, and not everything necessarily, I guess, has to play out the same in every experience. But I don't know. It's just there are certain questions, question mark, that I ask myself, or things that I ponder or wonder. It's like, I don't know. Maybe they're just me questions, though, for no one else but me. I'm turning these all up right before I put them back. That's what's happening right now. Oh, it's Elamaya. Gabriel. The moon? Yep, the moon. Metatron just came out in a different deck. Okay. All of the angels are up. You know what? I want to end with the angels. So we're actually going to do the occult tarot first. Who is this? Five of Wands, Ha'aya. Number 26, God listening in concealment. Politics and ambition, wins judgments and protects all those who seek the truth. Page of Pentacles, Yazalel. Number 13, God sung above all. Loyalty and allegiance, friendship and reconciliation. And then the devil, Samael, the severity of God. Seduction and downfall, communicates with the dead, teaches the occult and magic, are the three angels that came out. But they just came out. I'm not going to do a final message on them because, again, I want to end with the angels. So, ooh, so many in reverse. There are so many of the occult in reverse as I'm going through this deck. So many were upright on the table. And it seemed like there were more angels that were actually upright than in reverse. So many more of these that are in reverse than upright, but where were they all at? You know what I mean? So this is the occult in reverse. Oh, maybe they're about the same. Oh, maybe not. This was the occult in reverse. This is the occult upright. Can you see those? Where were all the reversals? Did I just hold up? I didn't even flip it, did I? Nope. Yeah, I did. Okay. No, I didn't. No, I almost put the reversals together with them still in reverse. I'm like, well, that would have defeated the entire purpose. See, but that's the thing about the occult side, though. Again, it's like even if dark, the dark came out as super helpful or whatever, we still have the freedom of choice and perception, and it feels like it's helpful in a non-helpful way more often than not. And it's like, yeah, we offered whatever to you, but you weren't supposed to take it. You were supposed to use your free will to say no. So then they get off scot free. But it's all about us healing and learning, and it's all about whatever is for us, honestly. If it's for us to heal and learn and grow, if that is our path, then it's for us to heal and learn and grow. And sometimes, how are we to grow unless we encounter difficulty? There's a seasonality to everything. Winter is a thing. We can't be in a constant state of growth, can we? All right, from the Occult Tarot. Final. I'll take it. 2 cards. 1 card immediately slid out. And I saw this name as I was flipping through. All of the fives. 5 of Swords, Sabnak, number 43. Builds high towers, castles, and cities. Afflicts men for many days with wounds full of rot and maggots. So here's another one that builds high towers, castles, and cities. Inflicts men for many days with wounds full of rot and maggots. See, I feel like this 5 of Swords energy is just like encapsulates that. It's helpful, but not in a helpful way. Because, well, oh, never mind. I take it back. Because I was going to be like, well, maggots only eat rot. So they're not going to be attracted to healthy flesh. So it was almost this energy of like, it inflicts a wound where rot already exists, but the rot is revealed when the skin is parted. And then it puts the maggots in the wound to eat out the rot. Now, if it's all rot, then there will be nothing left. you know? So, but if it's only like, it'll eat the bad apple before it spoils the entire bunch. Bottom of the deck is the High Priestess Dantelion, number 71. Teaches art and science, knows the secret thoughts of all, and can change them. Causes love, shows visions of the world. Queen of Pentacles is behind that, so we've seen most of the queens too. Makes one wise and teaches everything. Can turn any metal into gold. Transmutes water into wine. Hagenti, number 48. There's the 48 I was looking for. Teaches everything. Teaches art and science. Knows the secret thoughts of all and can change them. The secret thoughts of all. So if there's a thought that we have that isn't a secret, do they know? Hey, have a good night, Bernie. I hope you get plenty of rest. Queen of Wands, Paimon, right under that, the last queen that we haven't seen, number 9. Teaches arts and sciences, tells anything one desires to know, gives dignities, can make any man subject to one's demands, gives good familiars. So there's the Queen of Wands and the Queen of Pentacles for the Queen of Swords and Queen of Cups that we've already seen. 3 out of 4 of the queens have been in the occult tarot, but you know. Makes one wise. There's so much, but I like that's the thing, right? When you stick a fork into the electric socket, you learn that you shouldn't do that. When you put your hand into the fire, you learn that fire is hot. When you F around, you find out. So it's like there's all this like teaching and intelligence makes one wise, teaches ethics and morals, but in a way that's like, sometimes we learn the hard way. Or sometimes we're taught better through challenge and difficulty. Sometimes it's easier for us to understand in that way. And there are going to be some things that we learn in that way better than another way. There will be some things that we don't really learn in that way. And again, something about this occult energy today, because the first card, the occult overall, was Baphomet aligned to the divine. It's aligned to the divine. It's like how in the Bible, every time like the devil went to God and was like, hey, like I'm gonna go and mess with so and so. I bet I can get them to do whatever. And God's like, I know you won't because they're solid in their faith. They would never. And then the devil is like, want to make a bet, and God's like, okay. And then people get messed with. But Job never lost his faith, and Jesus made it through the desert and survived the temptation. But the devil had permission to do all of that. Like it wasn't just happening. You know what I mean? That's why it's like when devil energy comes, it's like, well, you weren't supposed to do it. You weren't supposed to say yes. All right, this is the game that I play. I'm like, oh, I bet I can get them to do whatever. And then God's like, no, you can't because they're solid. And then the devil's like, watch. And the devil's like explaining this to us. And he's like, so you were supposed to prove me wrong. It's not fun when I'm right. Type of energy. And again, it's like there's no amount of piety that makes one immune. It's almost, in fact, the more pious one becomes, the more easily they are to be led astray in other ways. Again, think of all of the atrocities that were committed under the names of some of the most divine, benevolent, loving, and supportive. Actions carried out by mankind that speak nothing to who they are or what they're about. So we have the Ten of Wands, not AL, and somebody else. The Five of Cups, Veolia. That's the one that came out as the gift, I believe. So the gift is here again. Yep, it's just these two. Ten of Wands, Five of Cups. Bottom of the deck is the Page of Pentacles, Yazalel, number 13. Again, God sung above all. Loyalty and allegiance, friendship and reconciliation. Under that is the Hierophant, Haziel, number 9, the merciful God. Divine forgiveness, obtains friendship and favors of the great, secures promises. Friendship just fell on the floor. Oh gosh. Oh. Here we go. Friendship attained in reverse, but with relative ease. Both of these mention friendship. It's like, oh, Page of Pentacles and the Hierophant. Queen of Cups, Pahalaya. She's the one that came out before. There you go. This is the bottom of the deck. The two cards that came out, Five of Cups, Veolia, number 43, God, King, and Ruler. Prosperity, destruction of the enemy, and deliverance from bondage. And the Ten of Wands, non-AL, number 53, 43, 53. God humiliating the proud. Spiritual communication influences religious men, teachers, and men of law. Excuse me. There you go. Interesting. See, but this is I don't know. Have you ever prayed like why didn't you just make me do the thing that we both know I should have done? Because you have free will. And how would you have learned if I had made you? Easy. You just put the information in my brain. You have a direct link. Anyway. This read is over, but I do wanted to pull one more deck. Maybe not. I'll probably just use the. I'll definitely use the affirmators. Matthew, how you doing? I'll use the affirmators next time. The affirmators tarot with the affirmators and the affirmators relationships. It should give us something. I mean, the affirmators have a sense of humor that can be a little scathing sometimes, but it should be like fairly positive. The last one was super positive. Snipe. Well, there's plenty. There's hours, as you know. So, have a good night, man. It was nice to see you. And for the rest of yours, I'll catch you when I catch you. I hope you have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope you realize, I guess, that it's a learning game. Apparently. Is it no stakes? Does anything matter? Who knows? Who knows? But like I said, I hope you have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. And I hope that whatever you need along your path, journey, and way, you find it. And I hope it's in like a nice, soothing, teaching way rather than the harsh critic. But at the end of the day, it's sometimes what we need. Not what we wish we needed, but what we actually need. I knew that light was on. I turned that light on so I could read this, but I was like, that light is on. I thought it was up. Anyway, it was one. Good is relative. It wasn't terrible. I'm kidding. Thank you. All right. I'll catch you all later in the next one. Bye.